You won't believe what got past the censors and blew up live on TV. Seriously. In the middle of a live broadcast, a drum exploded. A camera caught something it shouldn't have. And somehow, one of the most controversial shows in American television history managed to air it, uncensored. But this wasn't just about chaos on a soundstage. It was about comedy, protest, and two brothers who refused to play it safe. Now, let's rewind. The story starts with loss. During World War II, Major Thomas Smothers was captured by Japanese forces. He survived the brutal Bataan Death March, but not the war. His sons, Tom and Dick, were raised by their mother in California, without a dad, but full of sharp wit and deep emotional scars. That pain? It shaped their comedy. They didn't start out as revolutionaries. In fact, their early gigs were all about folk music. But when club audiences started laughing at their brotherly bickering, Tom playing the naive goofball, Dick the straight man, they realized something magical was happening. People loved it. Their big break came at the Purple Onion in San Francisco. Booked for 2 weeks, they ended up staying 36. A flamenco dancer's injury led to them taking the stage solo. And boom, they became a phenomenon. From $2 a night to $2,000 a week. Talk about a glow-up. By the mid-60s, CBS came knocking. Their Sunday night lineup was getting crushed by Bonanza, and the network needed something fresh, something risky. Enter the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. At first glance, just another variety show. Music, jokes, celebrity guests. But right away it became clear. This wasn't your typical program. The brothers weren't afraid to poke fun at war, politics, or the president. They pushed back on Vietnam, highlighted blacklisted folk singers, and used comedy to say what no one else on TV dared to say. And the audience? Ate it up. Within 2 weeks, they beat Bonanza in the ratings. Advertisers were thrilled. CBS gave them creative freedom, not knowing just how far the brothers would take it. They brought on young, bold writers, names you definitely recognize today. Steve Martin, Rob Reiner, Lorne Michaels. They took chances, wrote punchy, political jokes, and challenged the system with every episode. Now, if you were watching on September 17, 1967, you saw something unforgettable. The Who performed My Generation, and drummer Keith Moon had a wild idea. He filled his bass drum with explosives, way more than anyone knew. The blast? Massive. Smoke, noise, chaos. A cymbal hit Moon in the arm, and Pete Townshend's hearing was permanently damaged. In the middle of it all, Townshend picked up Tom Smothers' acoustic guitar and smashed it to bits. No one stopped it. No one censored it. It aired exactly as it happened. Loud, chaotic, real. And that's what made it legendary. But behind the scenes, the network was panicking. Every episode was being dissected by CBS censors. They tried cutting anti-war songs. They blacked out protest footage. Even harmless jokes were flagged. Pete Seeger, blacklisted for nearly 20 years, finally got to perform, only to have his most important song cut from the show. Tom Smothers leaked the story, and public outrage forced CBS to let Seeger sing it uncut the next time. A tiny win, but a powerful one. Things only got more intense from there. Joan Baez wanted to dedicate a song to her husband, who was in jail for draft resistance. CBS gutted the message. Later, they completely erased a performance by Harry Belafonte that criticized police violence, then sold the ad space to Republican campaign commercials. No joke. The censors didn't just edit, they micromanaged. Scripts, lyrics, even recorded tapes had to be submitted 10 days in advance. Writers were constantly rewriting. CBS was choking the life out of the show, and the brothers knew it. So they fought back. They wrote sketches mocking censorship. One featured Tom playing a censor, cutting people off mid-sentence with giant scissors. Another ended in total silence. CBS refused to air either. The brothers played a risky game. They'd submit safe tapes for review, then swap in edgier edits just before airtime. CBS hated it, but they couldn't prove anything until April 1969, when the network used a late tape delivery as an excuse to cancel the show. Let's be real, it wasn't about deadlines, it was about politics. The Vietnam War, Nixon, advertisers. Free speech was bad for business. Still, the brothers didn't back down. They sued CBS, and they won. In 1973, a judge ruled the cancellation was a breach of contract and awarded them what would be millions today. It was a landmark case for creative freedom. But the damage was done. They tried comeback after comeback. ABC in 1970, NBC in 1975. CBS even brought them back in 1988 for a nostalgic reunion. But none of those shows recaptured the fire of the original. TV had moved on, the country had changed, and the magic was gone. Still, their impact never disappeared. Before SNL, before Jon Stewart or Colbert, they were the ones saying the quiet part out loud. They gave a stage to bands like The Doors, Jefferson Airplane, Buffalo Springfield, artists the mainstream wouldn't touch. They showed Beatles videos on American TV before anyone else. They made censorship a punchline and made truth funny. In 2022, their archives were preserved by a major university as a vital part of American culture. Because what they did wasn't just funny, it was brave. They proved comedy could be a weapon, a truth teller, a rebel with a punchline. And even if the network tried to silence them, the impact of their words kept echoing. So, if you've ever laughed at a late-night host calling out a politician, or watched a sketch that made you rethink the news, that's the Smothers Brothers legacy. They didn't just make us laugh, they made us listen.